you ever hear a story that sounds like it came from a horror movie? But the more you look into it, the more you realize it actually happened. Because what you're about to hear is not a ghost story, not a legend, and not something made for entertainment. It's a real case that people in a small American town tried to forget for more than 100 years. A quiet convent, a group of nuns who never broke their vows, and one night when several of them simply vanished without a trace. No bodies were found, no one confessed, and the church locked the building before anyone could ask too many questions. Some people said the sisters ran away. Others believed something far darker happened inside those walls. And the strangest part, the few who claimed to know the truth refused to speak about it ever again. Before we continue, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Night Archive, because the stories we uncover here are the ones people tried to bury. And this one only gets more disturbing the deeper you go. The year was 1879. In a small rural town surrounded by fields, forests, and long empty roads that seemed to disappear into nothing. At the edge of the town stood St. Mary's Convent, a large stone building built on top of a hill where the ground stayed cold even in the summer. The convent had been there for almost 30 years, and the people in town respected the women who lived inside. The sisters kept to themselves, rarely leaving the property except for church services or to help sick families nearby. They were known for being quiet, disciplined, and deeply devoted to their faith. No one in town had ever heard of trouble coming from that place. In fact, most people believed it was the safest building in the entire county. But the peace around St. Mary's began to change after a new group of sisters arrived from another state. There were 5 of them, all young compared to the older nuns already living there. They spoke little, followed every rule perfectly, and spent most of their time in prayer. At first, the other sisters believed they were simply very strict in their devotion. But after a few weeks, some of the older women started to notice something strange. The new sisters never smiled. They never joined conversations. And every night, long after everyone else went to sleep, lights could be seen moving inside the lower part of the convent, where no one was supposed to go. One of the older nuns, Sister Margaret, later told a priest that she heard voices coming from the basement late at night. Not loud voices, not arguing, but whispering. Slow, careful whispering that sounded like prayers spoken in a language she did not understand. When she asked the Mother Superior about it, she was told not to worry. She was told the new sisters were simply practicing private devotions. But the explanation did not make her feel better. Because the basement of St. Mary's had been locked for years, and no one was supposed to have a key. As the weeks passed, the strange behavior became harder to ignore. Food started disappearing from the kitchen during the night. Candles were found burned all the way down, even though no evening prayers had been scheduled. And one morning, one of the younger sisters refused to leave her room, saying she heard someone walking outside her door all night, even though the hallway had been empty. The first real sign that something was wrong came during a storm in early autumn. Lightning struck near the hill, and the sound woke nearly everyone in the convent. Several sisters later said they saw a faint glow coming from the basement windows. Not the warm glow of candles, but a pale, flickering light that moved like shadows were passing in front of it. The Mother Superior ordered everyone back to their rooms and told them to pray. No one was allowed to go downstairs. And the next morning, the doors to the lower level were locked tighter than before. After that night, the 5 new sisters became even more distant. They stopped eating with the others. They stopped attending morning prayers. And sometimes they would disappear for hours without anyone knowing where they had gone. When asked, the Mother Superior said they were doing special work for the church, but she never explained what that work was. Then came the night that no one in town ever forgot. It was late winter, cold enough that the ground was frozen hard as stone. The people living near the hill later said they heard the church bell ring after midnight. That bell was never supposed to ring at that hour. A farmer who lived nearby said he saw lights moving inside the convent, more lights than there should have been, and all of them coming from the lower floor. He thought the sisters were holding some kind of emergency prayer, so he went back to sleep. The next morning, the town woke up to something no one expected. 3 of the sisters were missing. Not visiting, not traveling, missing. Their rooms were empty, their beds untouched, and their clothes still folded where they had left them. There was no sign of a struggle, no broken doors, no footprints outside in the snow. It was as if they had simply stopped existing during the night. The priest from the town came to the convent immediately. He spoke privately with the Mother Superior for nearly an hour. When he came outside, his face looked pale, and he told the people waiting that everything was under control. He said the sisters had been sent away for church duties, and that there was nothing to worry about. But the people did not believe him, because everyone knew the church did not send women away in the middle of the night without telling anyone. Over the next few days, rumors spread across the town. Some said the missing sisters had run away. Some said they had gone mad. And some believed the convent was hiding something terrible. Then, just when the rumors started to grow louder, another sister disappeared. This time, the Mother Superior did not even try to explain it. The doors of the convent were closed to visitors. The windows stayed covered. And the church announced that St. Mary's would no longer accept guests or students until further notice. Months later, the building was almost completely empty. Most of the sisters had been moved to other churches. The 5 new sisters were gone. The missing women were never mentioned again, and the basement of St. Mary's was sealed with heavy wooden boards nailed across the door. Years passed, and the convent slowly fell into silence. The town grew, new families arrived, and the story became something people only whispered about. But the mystery did not end there. In 1894, workers were sent to repair part of the old building after a section of the floor collapsed. While clearing debris near the lower level, one of the men found a hidden door behind a wall that should not have been there. The door led to a small underground room no one knew existed. Inside, the air smelled old and damp, like the place had been closed for many years. There were broken candles on the floor, strange markings on the stone walls, and pieces of cloth that looked like parts of a nun's habit. The workers reported what they found to the church. Within 2 days, the building was closed again, and the men were told never to speak about what they saw. One of them later said that when the priest arrived, he looked at the room for only a few seconds before ordering the door sealed permanently. No investigation, no explanation, just silence. Even today, people who live near the hill say the old convent still feels wrong. The building has been empty for decades, but sometimes lights are seen in the windows, even though there is no electricity inside. Some visitors claim they hear footsteps in the lower floor. Others say they feel cold the moment they step near the entrance. No official record ever explained what happened to the missing sisters. No graves were found. No documents were released, and the church never spoke about the case again. Some believe the women tried to escape something happening inside the convent. Some believe they discovered something they were never supposed to see. And some believe whatever happened in the basement of St. Mary's was so disturbing that the truth had to be hidden forever. Stories like this are the reason Night Archive exists, because history is full of events that were never meant to be remembered, only buried. If you found this story disturbing, strange, or impossible to explain, write in the comments what you think really happened inside St. Mary's Convent, and share this video with someone who likes real mysteries, because the more people hear these stories, the harder it becomes for them to disappear. Subscribe to Night Archive for more true cases, forgotten histories, and stories that should not exist, but somehow still do.